Honorable, good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Olajumoke. And thank you for having me.
Welcome. So this hashtag nationwide protest has, brought about some conversations begging for answers, especially questions about the disappointing scenes coming from the northern part of the country. But we've heard the Chief of the Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, who has said foreign flags has been flown within Nigeria's sovereignty. But this latest development of Russian flag displayed is unacceptable. What does this new development mean to you?
Honestly, it's disgusting. It's very, very uncalled for and completely unpatriotic for any Nigerian to hoist foreign flag within Nigerian soil. The law abhors this, and it is something that I think shall sadden everybody. And I think these people that are doing this kind of heinous activities, doing it in the name of protests, but this is beyond protest. This is a violation of our laws. No one has the right to hoist any foreign flag within this country, within the shores of this country. It's like, hoisting a flag, except in a friendly manner, during demonstration. I don't think it is something that the government shall condone.
This is beyond protest, but a major concern for a lot of persons is the fact that the protesters that were seen flying this Russian flag are kids. They are underage boys. What do you think they were trying to achieve? Or do you even know, do they even know the meaning of what they were doing?
Exactly, that's the issue. I don't think they know the meaning of what they are doing. Mostly they are underaged. Perhaps they are not really educated. So definitely they may not be knowing exactly what is happening, with respect to their acts, very, very terrible acts. The Nigerian military will rightfully be annoyed with this, and the government shall really look into it. And I think there should be civic education across Nigerian schools with respect to, patriotism and nationalism and so on. We should encourage civic education so that our kids will grow up with that knowledge. Because what they are doing borders on, criminality. It's actually treasonable to hoist a foreign flag on Nigerian soil. And I think the kids, as you have rightly said, may not exactly know what they are doing. That's the truth. They may not know the impact, the implication of their actions. And I think as parents, we should be able to, educate our children about nationality and patriotism, in this country.
Honorable, days before that protest began, days before the first day of that protest, there were insinuations that it appears like the North is driving this protest. And many were very convinced that this is an anti-Tinubu protest, because if it's really against bad governance, we should have seen the same in the last administration. For you, is this a fact, going by all that has happened in the last few days?
Sincerely, it's unfortunate that people's grievances are being exploited by, politicians and criminals. As you know, it's unfortunate that the history of protests in Nigeria has always resulted in this kind of looting and, vandalism, as we have seen in the past week. And it is best that Nigerians, especially leaders, even in the opposition and, some other, leaders should be able to, prevail on their people to ensure that protests are not really, carried out like that, because we know that the history of protests, indicates that there is always destruction, and these destructions, are mostly, private properties, government properties, and so on. And the government spends a lot of money, building all these things, and private people in these difficult times, will have to find themselves struggling again to rebuild their lives after all this. And there were so many instances of people, struggling to rebuild their lives. lamenting, as a result of this wanton destruction. So that is how we should look at it.
Also, why does it appear like northern elites, especially the governors, are silent after days of massive looting and destruction of private and public properties? You look at states like Zamfara, Plateau State, Kaduna, Kano. There is this deafening silence in reference to this massive destruction going on in those states, which some have called political insurrection. Also, now that kids have now been turned to pray to fly a foreign flag in Nigeria, what does the silence mean to you? And would you say this justifies federal government's position against the protest ab initio?
Yeah, it is disheartening. You see, the responsibility of peace, security, and welfare of the people does not only lie on the federal government, it also lies on the states. And you see, we have 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory with 774 local governments. And it is the responsibility of each of these tiers of government to ensure peace, and security. It's not only the federal government. And the governors, in fact, it's really amazing that it's unfortunate that most of the governors are silent on this. Aside from those who have imposed curfews in their states and those who have, done one act or the other to curtail this kind of destruction and riot that we have seen. Governors should be able to come out proactively and even prevent these kind of things even before it starts. So I really, don't know the reason why.
Honorable, why do you think this is not happening?
Well, the issue cannot be unconnected with, I think, maybe dissatisfaction with them, or maybe, I don't know, one cannot say their mind, it's up to them, but definitely they should have done better. Honestly, they should have done better. I'm not really happy that the governors decided to keep mute, while all these things are happening in their states. The saddest thing is that the destruction is within the state, and it is on some of those things that they have actually spent money to build. And some are, like for instance, the NCC building in Kano. Government spent billions of naira to build and equip that place with the aim of actually training, the youth to better their lives in different skills. So I do not see the reason why governors and other political leaders, not only governors, other political leaders, keeping quiet when this destruction is going on. I think it's something that I think we need to address within ourselves. This is a misery. Yeah.
Also, this also brings to question the role of northern stakeholders, apart from